Hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you now about the subordinating conjunction. It sounds more difficult than it is. All right. Subordinating conjunctions, they're conjunctions. Remember, conjunctions are words that combine other clauses together. Subordinating conjunctions, they unite dependent clauses. What does that mean? Well, that's when you have two full statements, two clauses that really need to go together because they're dependent on one another. The two statements, they got to go together. They can't be separate. So here's an example. This is from Through the Tunnel once again. As he went lower, he saw that it spread among small promontories and inlets of rough, sharp rock. Now, there are two different clauses there, two things happening. But one word in there is pulling those together, and it's pulling it in a way that's making them dependent on each other. And that word is as. And our two clauses, one in blue and one in green. So as he went lower, what happened? He saw that it spread among small promontories and inlets of rough, sharp rock. That as puts them together. You might not be used to thinking about conjunctions at the beginning of the sentence, but especially with subordinating conjunctions, they can go at the beginning of the sentence. And actually, you'll see that we can flip those. If I can get to my next slide. We can flip those. So take that same sentence. As he went lower, he saw it spread among small promontories and inlets of rough, sharp rock. Well, let's take that second clause. Let's put it first. We can. It's the same sentence, really. He saw that it spread among small promontories and inlets of rough, sharp rock as he went lower. So that's kind of where you're used to seeing that conjunction, but it often can go at the beginning of the sentence. And Doris Lessing decided that, you know what, I like the first sentence a little bit clearer. I think it's better. I agree with that. That's a subordinating conjunction. Let's see another example. When he was out so far that he could look back on the big beach, he floated on the buoyant surface and looked for his mother. Well, there are two clauses that are happening there. And there's one word that's pulling those together. Our two clauses are dependent on each other. And that word is when. Again, it's at the beginning of the sentence. It doesn't have to be, but Doris Lessing decided to put the beginning of the sentence. When he was out so far that he could look back on the big beach, float on the buoyant surface. And that part in blue is our first clause. The part in green is our second clause. But again, we can flip those if we want to. He floated on the buoyant surface. When he was out so far, he could look back on the big beach. Let's look at another one. Down he went until he touched the wall of rock again. Our subordinating conjunction is until. Down he went until he touched the wall of rock again. Down he went is our first clause. Second clause there is in green. That subordinating conjunction that puts this together, the two are dependent upon one another. They don't stand on their own. They have to go together. We have to know that he did this until he did this other thing. If we replace that word with something like and, it changes the meaning of the sentence. Down he went and he touched it. We have to know that he kept going until he touched that wall of rock. We need that subordinating conjunction. So this is different from something that's called a coordinating conjunction. And coordinating conjunctions are probably the ones that you're most familiar with. Like if you ask somebody what's a conjunction, they probably would say and, but, for, or, yet. So like that's the most common one, the types that you're probably most used to. They're coordinating. That means they bring together independent clauses. They're clauses that could stand on their own as sentences. The conjunction just kind of help them put them together. They're not dependent on one another. So for example, he chose the biggest stone he could carry and slipped over the edge of the rock. Where's the coordinating conjunction? Yeah, it's and it's putting together two independent clauses. They could stand totally on their own and just helping them out and putting them together in one sentence. It's better, so you don't have short, choppy sentences. It's not pleasant to read. It's better we put those together and we kind of emphasize that two are happening right alongside each other at the same time. That's a coordinating conjunction. Why does it do that? I don't know. Here's some examples of our subordinating conjunctions. Remember, they're combining dependent clauses. Although, because, until, so, after, as if. It's not a complete list, but it's just example. Our big one probably is because. You're familiar with that. This happened because this other thing happened. They're dependent on each other. They need to go together. They're not standing on their own. We have to understand that this happened because this other thing happened. Or this happened since this other thing happened. Or if the other thing happens, this other thing will happen. They are dependent upon one another. So when do we use them? As usually when we want to describe two things that are happening at once that are dependent upon one another. We sometimes want to give more information about how something happened or when something happened. So you'll use that in your writing. If you want to go back and revise your writing so that you're using these, it's something we expect you to do. You're going to look for times in your writing when you want to give like more information about how or when or why something's happening and put that subordinating conjunction. Okay. Thanks, everybody.